Okay, we are back in studio here, pre-UTMB athlete interview with none other than the great Tom Evans. Tom, your fourth start here at UTMB. How are you feeling, buddy?
Firstly, Debo, thank you for having me. I feel like it's Christmas.
Yes.
Is how I'm feeling, and I want to open those Christmas presents now. So in a really great place, and just genuinely really excited to get things kicking off.
You're the type of person who I know has been thinking about this for 365 days. Has that been the case?
I think yes and no. I think there's been a huge change in which
we'll talk about
in my shift but even before then, of feeling like I needed to do. Last year I felt like I needed to be at UTMB and I needed to have a good race. I didn't enjoy the training particularly. I didn't enjoy the race. I found it all really stressful and I wasn't having fun. And there's a reason that I didn't race from August last year until January this year, because I wasn't enjoying the sport. I wasn't enjoying going and training. I wasn't enjoying running. And one of the whole reasons of racing Arc of Attrition, which some people would say, why on earth are you racing Arc of Attrition in January in the UK, was to have fun. The training was to rediscover my love of this sport that I got into. And with external pressures that I had put into myself, I'd stopped enjoying the sport.
Wow.
I wasn't enjoying training. I wasn't enjoying racing. I was training because I felt like I had to keep people happy. And in the last, since January this year, I have rediscovered the love and why I started this sport. And I think it's when you start the sport not trying to be a pro. There are a lot of people who get into this sport and they think from day one, I want to be a professional athlete. That wasn't me. I did Marathon des Sables, complete surprise that I had a good race. Then raced Eiger again, fourth place there. Raced CCC, fourth place again behind Hayden, Ludo, and I can't
Marcin Swearish that
Marcin
year.
Swearish, precisely. And it still wasn't pro. I was still working a full-time job in the military, but I loved what I was doing. And then I guess the more the sport has professionalized and the more that I have tried to professionalize, I lost sight of why I was doing this. So this year has been about rediscovering my love for the sport. And I'm happy to say that I'm more in love with this sport now than I was after the first stage at Marathon des Sables in 2017.
Tell me about the journey of rediscovery. In what ways were you able to reconnect with that love?
I think it was just realizing why I was doing what I was doing. And it was sitting down with myself and my team and assessing, like, I just going back to my why. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I spending 25, 30 hours a week away from my family in the mountains on my own, suffering in training if I'm not enjoying it? And it was just realizing, like, actually, what do I want to achieve? Why am I doing this? And once I started asking myself those questions, it then became apparently clear why I was doing these things. And I'm doing it for myself and for my family, and not necessarily for the brands who I've partnered with. I'm not doing it for them.
Yeah.
Whereas I had seen previously that I thought, I need to win UTMB because I'm being supported and because I'm a professional athlete, not because I want to, but because I feel like I need to. And I think I guess the biggest shift this year is going from the need to do something to the want and the desire. And the desire now is 1,000,000 times more than it has been in any other year. Like, I feel very similar now to how I did before Western States in 2023. And I feel very similar now to how I felt before UTMB in 2022. Incredibly relaxed, done everything I can do, just really looking forward to getting to the start line.
So this is kind of a moment of transition in many ways, not only in the emotional, psychological way that you're describing now, but you do have new partners. And most importantly, you're a dad. Tell me about the transition to fatherhood and how it fits into this turning a new page in your life and in your career.
I think it's put, as a lot of people would say, it puts a lot of perspective on what you've been doing. I used to think training was hard and fitting training into the day was difficult. If you had an interview or a talk with one of your sponsors or a phone call with, a partner or whoever it was, you would run out of time during the day. And I look back on those times now and I think, I had so much time to do this training. How did I ever stress and worry about it? Whereas now I do what I would describe as dad intervals where there is no faff, there is no standing around, sitting on a rock, feeling sorry for myself. If I've got a session that's supposed to take 80 minutes and it's got some intervals in there, my session will take 80 minutes.
Maybe 79.
Maybe, no. I can't be. I say I've focused. I'm more happy with myself, but that doesn't mean I'm less data driven.
Okay, I got it.
If it's 80,
Understood.
I'm running 80.
Okay.
No shortcuts here. So, but just roll straight into it. And actually that has given you a new focus. It's like, okay, well, what do I need to achieve in this training block, whether that's on the macro cycle of these 3 months or in these 3 days, like what have I actually got to do? And again, we've just broken it down to what is the demand of the event? What have I actually got to be able to do? And rather than looking at, okay, we've got 7 days in the week, how much training can my body handle? It's reframing it again and looking at it, okay, well, if I want to run X at UTMB, what is the least amount of work that I need to do in order to be able to do that? I
love how you approach it this way, the minimum effective dose philosophy.
Yeah, precisely. And I think it's so important because people talk, and yes, what the sport we are doing is an endurance event, but in my opinion, I don't think you don't need to run loads, because the more you run, the less quality you can do. So the way that we've focused on is, okay, well, what are the quality sessions that I want to achieve this week? And you can almost split it into 3 different priorities: a gold, a silver, and a bronze. Okay, the gold sessions are the ones, they're the non-negotiables. We are doing these. Yes, we can move them around a little bit and we can be flexible if you've had a bad night's sleep. But in this 7-day period, we kind of need to get them done.
Yeah.
And then the silver ones are, okay, well, these are the supporting workouts that are going to add value to the gold workouts when added in a consistent manner. They're important, but actually if one of them is 90 minutes and actually it becomes 75 minutes because you had a punami in the back of the car, then that's absolutely fine because life happens.
Yep.
And then the bronze ones are, okay, well, this is just the easy running around it of, again, what's the minimum effective dose that we need to get the adaptations we need for a race like UTMB, but also more importantly, they are the supporting roles in the training. It'd be weird if you went to a huge blockbuster movie and you had, 3 key actors and actresses and then no supporting actors.
Yeah, okay.
It would just be so weird. Yeah. So the supporting roles are, yes, they're not as important as the gold standard, but they still need to get done.
Play an important role. Yeah.
But they play a really important role and it's just fitting them in. Then the role that they play is not that important.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. We skip one here and we miss one there, or if anything's got to go, they're the ones that go. And I think it's almost just reframing things of, okay, cool. Training is, to a certain extent, training's training. And what is take it seriously, but don't take it too seriously. If you have a good session, great. You have a bad session, fine. And I think I've always described it with the dogs. If you get home, the dogs don't care whether you've had a good session or not. And now Phoebe, our daughter, cares even less. And to be perfectly honest, I care a bit less.
Really?
For a race like UTMB, what is a good workout?
Yeah.
A one workout on its own isn't going to make or break a race. I could take out any of my workouts. If I hadn't have done them, in this 12-week block, it's not going to make a single difference in the race.
Yeah.
It was one session. Yeah. It can't make a difference in a 20-ish hour race. So I think just, taking it seriously.
The macro view.
Yeah, it's still taking it more serious than I ever have before, but in a different way, like putting way less pressure on myself that, this is how fast I've run this before. Why haven't I run that fast? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, I guess I'd describe it as like, if a ball was coming towards you and you try and snatch at it, you're probably going to drop it. But if you let things come to you and you sort of just relax and you just follow the motion of it, you're probably going to end up catching it. And I've done sessions here that I've tried the least hard and run 35, 45 minutes quicker.
Wow.
On sections that I think, like, why can't I do this? Why haven't I done this in a race? And I look back and I think, you've not done it in a race because you've been so stressed. Mm.
So I guess sticking with the fatherhood thing, I'd love to ask you how Sophie's doing too, because of course she's a high level athlete too. She knows what this race means to you and your career and therefore to your family. If you could share maybe a little bit about that dynamic and maybe any sacrifices she's made to help put you in a position to win this weekend, because as we all know, you're one of the favorites here. Yeah,
I think firstly, addressing obviously I want to win. I'm a professional athlete. That's what I want to do. What I want more than anything is genuinely to be able to look at myself afterwards knowing that I raced the race I was capable of. I think I'm capable of running a certain time and giving a certain effort for that amount of time. If there are guys who can go quicker than me, fair play.
Yeah.
Genuinely fair play. Like, you're incredible.
Yeah.
If it's enough to get the job done, great. Yeah. But if it's not, I might not be happy at the time, but all I can give is my best.
Yeah, of course.
I don't feel like I need to win. I want to win more than anything, but I want to give the best account of myself in the race, and I want to be proud, and I want to make Phoebe and everyone in my team proud that I've come such a long way after 2 DNFs here.
Yeah.
And I think those DNFs have been a really, really important part of my career.
Talk about that a little bit.
I think they've just taught me so much that, like, I take post Western States 2023, I didn't celebrate winning the race. Mm-hmm. It was my goal for such a long time was to win at that race. And it was really, for me, it was such a huge landmark in my career. And within an hour, maybe 2 hours of finishing Western States, I was already thinking about getting back into UTMB.
Dude, that's actually really interesting. And I'm sure Ryan will remember this, but doing your interview before UTMB 2 years ago, it's like one of the most memorable pre-race interviews we've ever done. Like, we felt like you left here and we were like, oh my God, that guy is scary. Like, I would really hate to race him. But now that you articulate it this way, it does feel, in retrospect, like you got to the top of the mountain in Western States and you just basically felt like, okay, this is the new baseline, and therefore become disconnected with the love and the process that had always been your anchor.
100%. Yeah. And you've solved the riddle that, Tom's had a really good race. What Tom normally does is he finishes third in a race in his first year, then he wins it the next year. And that was kind of what I thought going into UTMB. I was like, I finished third here before. I was underprepared. I was racing one of the most competitive years. You've got Jim, you've got Killian, you've got Mathieu, you've got me, you've got Zach, you've got Germain.
Yeah.
No one dropped out.
Yeah.
In any other year, 2, 3, or last year, all of them are dropping out. And it was to be able to finish third in such a competitive year, almost exactly 12 months after major knee surgery.
Right.
I sort of kind of thought, why are people saying UTMB is difficult? And one of my biggest failures of UTMB was finishing third in my first year because I did take it seriously, but I didn't have any outcome goals for it. I wanted to get to the start line. I wanted to prove people wrong that I could get to the start line in as better shape as possible and run my own race. I run my own race and I don't try and follow moves that are way too fast for me. And funny enough, you have a good race. And then you then think, oh, well, I did that in the first year. Now I can follow the moves. I think I'm as good as these guys. I've done what these guys have done as well. And you get to, 2024. And then, you go super hard and you don't eat or drink. And funnily enough, you blow up.
Yeah.
And then you then sort of rack that down to, I just didn't have a good day. And you don't really hold yourself necessarily that responsible for it. So you get to the next year and you do exactly the same thing again. And and you look back and you think, had I not have done that, it would have been a completely different, had I have just backed off, given 5 minutes here, it would have been a completely different story. So now from learning from those mistakes and almost like backing up the same error twice, you're like, okay, that wasn't a fluke that it didn't not work. This doesn't work for me. Like my strategy is not go to the front and be at the front. Yes, I might find myself in the front group if that's the pace that I want to run at. But I am doing more than ever. I am doing me this year round.
Hell yeah.
And it will look very different. Splits might look different. They might look the same. Who knows what other people are going to do? But everyone's going to run their own race. Well, actually, a lot of people aren't going to run their own race. And those people are the ones who are going to make the mistakes that I have made. I have made these mistakes. I think you have to make these mistakes to really learn them. And if you make the mistake once, that's fine. You make the mistake the second time, you think, okay, well, let's really learn from this now. And then for the third time going into it, like, okay, cool. I've learned these.
Yeah.
I am slightly looking forward to seeing people making those mistakes because it's just going to make them a better athlete.
Part of the process.
Part of the process. And you can't see and be like, this is what Tom did last year. I'm not going to do it this year until you've actually really done it. So I think going back to your original question, like the sacrifices that Soph has made, like Soph's been out here for the last 5 weeks with me, which has been incredible. And Phoebe's been here. And I guess we've just made it home from home. And I've had the most fun in a training block that I've ever had. Like I used to think in order for my best performance, I had to go away on my own, become this mountain monk and just almost like raw dog on an evening on my own and just be like this.
Yeah.
And just stare at the wall because that was being mentally strong. And if I wasn't thinking about this race every second of every day, I didn't care about it. Whereas now, like we've had friends with us for this whole trip. We've played card games in the evening. We've chatted. I've laughed more in the last month than I have in the last year around training blocks. And it's just made everything so easy. Yeah. Like training has just clicked. I've had such a fun time. I've got all the work that I need to done. And I'm smiling when I'm doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I can see the sacrifices that Soph has made. And I think what we're really good at in our relationship is periodizing our time so the other one can try and perform at their very best. And like last year wasn't about me. Last year was about Soph. The reason why I raced cross country for such a long part of the first half of last year and ended up racing cross country world championships was because Soph was trying to qualify for the Olympics.
Right.
So was it the perfect training for UTMB? Absolutely not. But I was prepared to sacrifice that to give Soph the chance that she needed, knowing that she will return that favor when it's my time.
Yeah.
I think, having said that, I think she's loved her time out here. Like, again, we've had friends the whole time. She's loved the open water swimming pool in Chamonix. She's back up to, like, this week she'll do 4 by 40 minutes of running, which I get to do with her now. And what an amazing way to spend your taper running with your wife, who you've not run with since the 1st of January. It's just fun.
It's amazing.
For me, there's no like, I'm in my taper. It's a bit worrying. I'm really anxious about the race. I'm like, I'm doing the things that I have loved doing And I now get to share one of my favorite places in the world with my favorite person in the world.
Yeah.
And then we finish, and then we have our daughter. We don't just leave her at home on our own, I promise.
Yeah.
That's why we've got friends with us. And yeah, it's just the most incredible, wholesome family unit that operates at high performance.
So funny. And now I'm just remembering, obviously, like Caleb Olson just won Western States, probably in about the same time period of being a new dad as you are now. And obviously his wife, Morgan, and Sophie were critical pieces of both your guys' process. And a great race for you will be a celebration for the whole family. Coming back to your season, you won the Arc of Attrition 50 miler, and then you won the Tenerife UTMB race, both comfortably. I'd love to ask you about sort of how, to me, looking at those performances, obviously very impressive, but clearly stepping stones towards UTMB and probably opportunities, as you said earlier, to reconnect with the love of the sport. But also you mentioned like you're no less of like a high performance data oriented person. So maybe you could just provide your personal assessments of those two performances from both those perspectives, whether you were able to reconnect with the love and the emotional part of the sport and also come out of it feeling like proud of the actual execution.
Yeah, good question. I think definitely different builds for both races. Arc of Attrition was, I guess a two-part reason for wanting to do it. Firstly, the Arc of Attrition is a really famous race in the UK and has recently, this year, was the first year that it was a UTMB race. And for me, it was really important to not be the gatekeeper, but just to go and see it for myself, support the race, support UTMB. And because what they are trying to do, and UTMB get a lot of stick, but what they are trying to do is, I honestly believe, is an amazing thing. Yep. They're growing the sport that I have fallen in love with. And I'm in the very fortunate position where, you maybe don't get to make all of the decisions or make any decisions, but you're there. And if you see something, you know the right people to speak to about getting it sorted. So firstly, I wanted to race in the UK because the UK trail running scene is really growing and there aren't that many full-time trail runners in the UK. And I think supporting your home races are really important. The ironic thing is I can get to Chamonix quicker than I can get to Cornwall where the race starts. But that's not the point. So racing at home is really important. It's where I started running on the trails in the UK, and I like racing. I've raced Snowdon, I've raced Arc of Attrition now. So I wanted to see the community in the UK. And I think it meant a lot to a lot of people who were there saying like, oh, Tom Evans doesn't just run these big fanfare, huge races all across the world. Actually, at the same time, like he's a normal person. We stayed in our van. We had the dogs. Sophie was heavily pregnant. Like it was just a really cool experience to be able to do and run in the UK. And the other British guys who ran really, really well, and they're racing at the World Champs in a couple of weeks, and a very different race to UTMB. It's very runnable. It's very wet. It's very muddy. That's what I love. Yeah. Like it's proper UK. It's UK racing at its absolute finest. None of the climbs are longer than 5 minutes. So it just makes it really hard. There's no rhythm and just an amazing race. Yeah. And then I was then planning on racing Gran Canaria, but picked up a little bit of a niggle. Right. It wasn't particularly serious, but knowing that UTMB was the goal, just thought, right, let's give myself, and Gran Canaria, Tenerife was only 3 weeks after, so it really wasn't serious. Yeah. I could have raced, but I thought, what's the point? You've just started loving the sport. Now's not a time to pick up a niggle and take a risk. So raced Tenerife Blue Chain. I guess the idea for that was to not have fun, but to implement some of the strategies that we will implement at UTMB. Working with Joseph Mezzole, who is a data analyst, sports scientist based in Chamonix, who helped Ruth Croft last year at UTMB with her pacing. I've been working with him for the last year, and him in conjunction with Scott Johnson came up with a pacing plan and a strategy of what we think we need to do at this race in order to be able to convert that into a UTMB performance.
So cool.
Heavily data driven. And we measured lactate at all of the aid stations to see how hard I was working. I wore a heart rate monitor for the whole race just to get as accurate data as possible. And we used this sort of data finding, fact finding mission, knowing that Soph was due 3.5 weeks later, knowing that that was going to be my last race, probably until UTMB.
Yeah.
And that was always the plan. Like, I've tried racing 8 weeks before. For me, it doesn't work. For some people, it might work, but at the moment, there seems to be I can't think of the word. No one has won a race, the Lavaredo weekend, Marathon de Mont Blanc weekend, Western States weekend, and then UTMB weekend for males.
On the men,
On the men's side. The women's side the girls are just, the girls are better than the guys. And I'm happy to say that. I think that's incredible. It shows how far the sport has come. So for me, there was no rush to get back into these races. I'd signed up to Marathon de Mont Blanc 90K, but actually I decided 10 days before, I love running, but I'm having a really great training block at home. And I also don't want to leave my family. I want to support my family. And I think that at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, when you're climbing Grand Col Ferret, what's more important, the love of your family or, oh cool, I got to do another training race somewhere. For me, the love and the support is more important. The mental side is more important than the physical side. The physical side is just I almost see it's a bit of a ticking the box process. In order to stand on the start line and be semi-confident at this race, you've got to tick the boxes. But the things that go deeper than that is how you're feeling leading into the race and stood on the start line. I think you will be able to tell by looking at the athletes on the start line who's going to win. I think if you took a portrait of every athlete...
It's so funny. I mean, it's something that I try and get across when we do commentary and a lot of the stuff that we do is like at the front of the races, all you guys you can easily have an intuition of like who looks strong, who looks smooth, who looks strained, even if there's no verbal cues of it and there's nothing obvious. It's just sort of like a subtle feeling.
I think you'll be able to call the winner on the start line.
Okay.
And I would love you to.
Okay. All right, great. So I'll try.
For everyone listening, make sure, hold them accountable that I want a men's and a women's winner. And it's okay if they finish top 3. That's fine. Okay. You can call this person's finishing in the top 3. But I think from your intuition and understanding the sport, you'll be able to. I think it'll be obvious.
I think I'll need to stand at the start line and look all you guys in the eye.
Yeah, you need to be able to smell the fear.
Tom, I could literally talk to you forever. I'm cognizant that you've got other things to do here, and hopefully we can continue this conversation in a post-race interview afterwards. Please. But one final closing thing I'd love to have you say a few words about. It's come up recently in conversation with Danny Moreno. I know you coach her, Tony McCann, Ingvild Kaspersen, all of whom are racing CCC. Just share a few words about how you balance, wanting to be a great coach and a great support system for these incredible athletes while also focusing on your own performance. I love coaching and I love helping. More than anything, I love helping people. Yeah. I do one big charity initiative every year, one that's going to be released fairly soon. And for me, coaching is, as much about helping people and helping people fulfill what they're capable of doing. I don't charge my pro girls anything. I actually coach 4 girls. I coach Elsie Davis as well. Oh. So I've got 4 girls, all racing CCC, all who are listed in the top 10 favorites. Yes. Which has been, from a coaching perspective, has been really interesting. I believe all these girls have a chance of having I think they're all going to have an amazing race. And I think on any of their given days, they can all be on the podium. But if a podium of 3, 4 can't get on it. Yeah. So have to be very careful. You obviously have everyone's data. So you have to be very careful. It's not very careful. It's obvious not to be sharing, this person's doing this and that person's doing that. So you need to do this and that.
the really great thing about having those 4 girls, they have all had such different seasons and such different build-ups. So I take Elsie, for example, who her partner, Sarah, had a child. They had a child at the beginning of the year. So her build-up was a little bit delayed. That meant that she then got in amazing shape for Snowdon, had performed at her peak at Snowdon. And then for me to be able to say after Snowdon, right, you're as good as it gets now. Like, we've still got 12 weeks to CCC. Like, we need to chill out.
Yeah.
Let's take some time, go and enjoy family and go be a normal human for a bit. And now she's then able to get back up to her peak. Whereas someone like Danny Moreno has had a very different year where, again, we were just low level training, just building, gradually entered Broken Arrow, finishes 3rd in a race that she had absolutely there's no way she should have finished 3rd. Yeah. She is a racer.
Yeah.
And when the chips are down, I wouldn't bet against her.
Yeah.
That is her superpower is in a race, she outperforms what she is capable of in training.
Wow, cool.
Which is incredible to see. And then you have Ingvild, who is just tempo queen. She could 6-minute pace all day. She could out 6-minute pace on a rolling course 95% of the men.
Yeah.
Incredible. For her, for more about me, it's pulling her back. It's saying, yeah, I know you can run however many hours in a week. Like, let's just pull it back a little bit. Let's just save something in the box. And things then really clicked about a month ago. And she was sort of a bit nervous going into race and racing was like, oh my God, that felt so smooth. And then the next day goes out for another run and is like, oh my God, how have I recovered so well from this? And similar with Tony, like Tony has definitely not had the most straightforward 12 months with sort of niggles here, there. But again, is the difference between the good athletes and the great athletes is they find a way. And she is the epitome of being able to find a way. So I think, how do I balance them? It's almost a different, I don't see them as the same thing. Like, I see them as completely separate entities. And I guess the reason for me I have this idea where it's not really a thing in trail running at the moment, because all of 99% of the sponsors and the partners in trail running are part of trail running. They're shoe brands, clothing brands, whatever it is. Whereas you take cycling, the majority of the big brands' title sponsors aren't cycling brands. They're not bike brands. They're not, take UAE Team Emirates.
Yep.
Emirates are an airline. They're not making bikes anytime soon. I'm sure they could make a really fast bike, maybe with a jetpack on the back. But what I want to do, and where do these riders come from? They all come from these smaller teams, these feeder teams. So what I would love to do in the fairly near future is create sort of a management agency for up and coming trail runners, all girls, to then sign them with partners of mine who I've got the contact for. So whether they're Garmin, SunGod, Asics, and
Red Bull
and Land Rover, for example, sign them with that. And then in the future, when a big brand, when a North Face or an Asics comes on and says, we want this person to be head to toe of our stuff, be able to say, these are the girls that I've got. This is the stable that I've got. I can then bring them up from a junior, get them really sustainably into a senior, and then look after their career in that standpoint. So like, for me, doing this coaching of these elite girls is such a huge privilege for me to do, because it's fulfilling what I want to do, where I feel like I can add real value in this space, not just understanding the commercial market of trail running, which I think there is a huge lack of understanding, and also the performance side, that I've been fortunate enough to have some great races at some big races and have got that experience, as well as the desire to want to coach and to help people, having done all of the very few sort of trail running coaching qualifications there are, but then also being a UK athletics qualified coach and doing things the proper way, because I want to help people in the sport. And yeah, I find it so rewarding that for me, it's not a sacrifice or anything. Like Danny Moreno as well as my psychologist, who's still over there, out here at the moment. I also have my soft tissue physio out with us at the moment. And Danny Moreno came yesterday to get a second opinion on something. And then today for her training, she went on a walk with Phoebe and our dogs. Can
your physio work on my back and neck here today?
Yeah, he could. I should have brought him. He's just hiked up the VK. We sent him off this morning. So for me, it's sport and trail running goes more than in coaching, and that goes more than just programming. And where can I make a real difference with helping people get better at this sport? It's not just the programming, because you work with some amazing athletes, and I could set my pro girls all the same workouts, and they could be the best workouts in the world. They're all going to have different results from it. So it's kind of forming that, okay, this works for this person, that works for that person. It's amazing how different that looks, and whether we get to a point where I can share what they've done. But having coached Ingvild when she won here, having coached Tony when she won here, is there going to be a hat trick? I don't know. It's arguably the most exciting race to watch, and possibly
we've been talking about that this week.
Possibly the hardest race to call, which I think is incredible, because rewind 10 years, who would have said that the CCC women's field
is the race of the week?
Is going to be the race,
and Tom's coaching half the field.
For me, that's the Queen stage. Yeah. That's the Alpe d'Huez on Bastille Day equivalent of the Tour de France. Yeah. It's I wish our race, instead of starting 15 minutes earlier, started 2 hours later.
So you could watch.
I'd love to watch it.
I'll give you an update in Lake Contamine.
There we go. Tom, I have my phone with me.
Send you a text.
With my live trail up.
Buddy, it's so fun to chat with you. And again, I always appreciate just the perspective you bring to the sport. I appreciate you giving us so much time here during race week, and good luck at your 4th UTMB.
Thank you very much. Absolute pleasure. And everyone make sure you listen, like, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and look forward to my post-race interview.
Legend.